Let's do a subquery with two different tables. Do our ritual here. DB, and we're going to use north wind. Alright, let's show tables, and we're going to use the employees and orders table. So let's check those out. Okay, describe employees and describe orders. So we have two common fields in these tables, employee ID in both tables. So those are the ones we're going to use to connect these two. Alright. So what you have to do, think about is, first think about the inner query, the subquery that you're going to do, and test that one out first. Make sure that works. So our inner subquery, I already have it down here somewhere. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do this. Select employee ID first name from employees, where first name is like Y with the in the regular expression, this means that the first name will end with a Y. Anyhow, let's do last name, because I think we'll have better results with last name. I don't know why I think that, but I think so. Last name like Y. Let's look at last name. Last name. Okay. We're not selecting last names. Not coming. Oh, it's an empty set. Okay, good. Anyway, so this will, of course, give us all employees with the last name of Y. That has a Y in the last name. Yeah, and that's one employee with employee number 6. Okay, so let's get some better results, and let's use something like I don't know, A. Okay. Alright, so this is our inner query, and let's go ahead and get our outer query going. And our outer query is going to be select employee ID, comma, customer ID, comma, order date, and from orders. Yep. So we're getting all this from orders. And we got to use the where clause, employee ID in, and then we make our select statement, and we got to close up our select statement out here. Let's see what happens. Okay, table north wind orders doesn't exist. What happened? I don't believe it. What? Select orders from orders by in selecting the last name. Okay. Wait a minute, let's check it out. Show tables. Orders exists. I think maybe I know what I did. Yeah. It's case sensitive here. Darn it. Operand should contain one column. So that means that in the inner query, should only have one column. Like employee ID. So we got to get this last name out of there. Alright, that's better. Well, that is our inner query there and our outer query. So what's happened here is we're selecting the employee ID, 492 rows. Wow. And we're getting our order date and our employee ID. Employee ID, customer ID, which is this, and our order date. And our criteria that dictates everything in the outer query is this right here. Last name has to be like A. Now we can't see the last name that has an A in it, but we can do some other stuff here. And let's say we want the last name that begins with an A, and it's an empty set. Okay, well, that's interesting. What about a last name that let's try this. Let's try a first name. First names are more diverse, I think. First name like A, and 716 rows. Ooh, wow. So we should get something. We should get a first names that begin with A. And 139 rows of this criteria with the first name that begins with the A. What about first names that end in A? 104 rows. Okay. So anyway, and we don't see the first name. We just see everything it's dictating to the results in the outer statement, in the outer query, because that's what we're seeing is the outer query being told what to do by the inner query, if you want to put it that way. Another thing we can do is dictate to the outer query by birthday date. And I don't know if you remember seeing the birth date in the orders table. I mean, in the employees table. So we can say birth date greater than 1960. Not a real useful query. But what it's doing here is giving us the employee ID, customer ID, and order date from employees whose birthday is greater than 1960, and there's going to be a lot of those. Okay, but we're showing the order date, not the birth date. Remember, we don't see that. Okay, so that's another way to do subqueries using two different tables.